Hey guys, and welcome back to this week's 52-week project video. I really hope you guys have been enjoying the previous videos in the series. I'm really trying to think of some more interesting things to help with how the videos are looking and the content that I'm sort of putting in there, because I know it's kind of like the same thing every week. So guys, if you do have any ideas or suggestions for what you'd like me to put in the videos for future reference, feel free to put it in the comment section below. Just thought I should get that out there first. So this week's photo shoot was done with Ruby, and I actually loved this photo shoot. It's one of my favorites so far for the entire year, and I hope you guys will see why and agree with me. I actually just felt like it went so well. Every little piece of the puzzle just fell into place on this particular day, and even though the weather wasn't great, as it hasn't been recently in Melbourne, it's been very grey and raining and just the typical Melbourne weather really. It was still such a great shoot, and I think I really captured what I wanted to on the day. So the idea for the photo shoot was going to be like an 80s kind of street style photo shoot, and luckily Ruby, the model I had picked, that's kind of like her style of clothing that she loves to wear. So when I asked her to bring clothing along that sort of suited the mood board, she had everything to a T. I was so excited to shoot what she had. And we didn't actually have a makeup artist or a hairstylist on the day, and it went really well. Ruby had this amazing, unique hair as well that just fit the theme so well, and I just was so happy in the end. I can't even tell you guys how much I really enjoyed doing the shoot and how much I felt like I got the outcome that I wanted in the end. So basically, first off, I'm going to show you guys behind the scenes as usual and show you where we were shooting and what sort of poses I was getting Ruby to do. And then I'm going to go through all the final edits and show you guys which ones that I really liked and talk about the ones that I didn't like so much. And then go on to let you guys know what my number one for the week was. These are my final images for the week, guys, and just a pre-warning, I actually don't really hate any of the images. I don't have a lot that I dislike about the set this week, which is definitely a first. I always find that I pick up things as I go along that I really don't like as much, but I feel like with this set of images, I was just so proud and happy with the way that they turned out that there's actually not a lot there that I just don't like, and I think some of the photos that I picked out this week for my top 5 are just based on the interest level of the images themselves. So first off, this is the first photo of the week, and I really do like the image. I think it's really, really great, and I think that Ruby looks very 80s in it. I do love that vibe. I think I do have stronger ones this week, so as much as I really like this image, I don't think it is one of my stronger images, so that's why it's not going to be in my top 5. It's basically the same thing with this image. I really love it, and it probably will go in my portfolio, but as far as creating interest, it doesn't have as much as some of the other photos I think that I've taken this week, so it's not going to be in my top 5. This photo is going to be in my top 5, and I really loved it. As soon as I saw it on camera, I was in love with the image, and I think that it has a very 80s vibe. It was the first photo that I edited this week as well, so I kind of tested out the tones on this image and really love how they turned out as well. And I think Ruby just looks really strong in this photo, so definitely going to be in my top 5 this week. This photo is also going to be in my top 5, and primarily because it is actually a full body shot that I like, and I don't have a lot of full body shots usually that I'm like, yes, it's definitely going to be in my top 5. But I do really like this image, and I think that she just looks very 80s once again, and I really like the backdrop. I think the brick looks really contrasted to her jacket and her outfit, so I think it gives it a really street vibe, and that's why it's going to be in my top 5. I actually really love this image too, and I like it because of the composition and the fact that I did try to do something a little bit different. I've been trying out this new thing recently with some photo shoots where I've been getting the model's composition basically at the side and the top of the image, so kind of like curving around the photograph. And I'm kind of liking how they're turning out as well. So it's a little bit different, and for some people it might be cutting off too much of the model's limbs or proportions or whatever, but for me, I actually do like how it's turning out. I do have a little bit more of experimenting to go, so unfortunately this one's not going to be in my top 5, but I still like the image. I really love this portrait of Ruby. It's one of my favorites from the week. It's still not going to be in my top 5 though, because I do think there's better images overall. You guys might disagree, but I do still love this photograph, and I think as far as just creating interest goes, that's all it comes down to with this one. This photo is not going to be in my top 5. If I could have a top 6 this week, this would be number 6 because I really loved the way that it turned out. And the only reason I'm not choosing this particular shot is because the next one is very similar to it. And I chose the full body shot instead of this one, just purely to distinguish the fact that I had 5 separate shots that were in my top 5, and there weren't too much similarities between the images. So still really love this image, and it probably will go in my portfolio still, but not going to be in my top 5. This photo is going to be in my top 5, and the reason I chose it over the last photo, which was a little bit similar, was the fact that Ruby just looks really strong in this photo, and I think she does in the last photo as well, but I like the pose here. I think it's really different, and it's different for me. And I think even though it's like a little bit awkward, I love that about it, and I love that it's giving that really street kind of vibe, and I really love how the shot came together in the end. Interesting composition for me, and for probably a lot of people out there, they may not like it, but I really do like how it turned out, and I think it gives it a really good fashion element for this particular photo. This photo is not going to be in my top 5, although I do like also how it turned out. I think it's got a really strong fashion element to it, and that's why I added it in the final edits, but not going to be among my top images for the week. This one's also not going to be in my top 5 for the week, and I still like the pose. I actually directed Ruby to do this pose. I was trying to test out different ways of using both arms and entangling them with the hair, but still not making it look too posy and too typical model pose. I was trying different angles and trying to get the shot right that way, but unfortunately this one's not creating enough interest, I feel, for it to be in my top 5. I actually really love this shot too, and if I had, say, a top 7, maybe it might be my number 7, and I love how it turned out. It's interesting, I think, with the wind and the rain, and it just kind of gives it a really grungy look, but not going to be in my top 5 for the week because I really did enjoy having the coloured images, I feel, for the week in this particular series. I think the colours really were popping, so I really loved choosing those particular shots. Once again, really like this shot. I think I've taken similar shots like this one before though, and that's why I haven't put it in my top 5. I think it's a pretty shot, but I think the next shot is something that I would have preferred to have in my top 5, and I think it's a bit stronger. So this is the final image for the week in my top 5, and I really love how this portrait came out. The sun managed to come out for about 5 minutes when we were shooting, so I really wanted to get a strong portrait of Ruby and a lot of detail in her skin and with her hair as well. And the sun can sometimes pick up on that texture depending on which way you're shooting and which direction. And I feel like it happened with this photo, and I just really love how it turned out. It looks strong and it's contrasted, and I love the tones in it, so it is going to be my top 5. My top photo for the week is going to be this photograph here, and I just love how everything came together with this shot. I think it embodies the whole 80s mood board that I was going for, and overall I love the colors in the shot, and that's really what got me over choosing this particular photo. This was actually going to be my top photo of the week, and I really love the colors in that still. I think there's something about the blue though that does it for me over the red, and that's all it came down to because I loved both images so much, but clothing wise I just kind of loved this outfit, and I think it gives it more of an 80s vibe overall. So this is my top photo for the week, and I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the photos. Hope you guys enjoyed the behind the scenes this week and the rundown of the images. Now I'm going to go through what I think I could have done a little bit better and what I think I did really well this week. So what I think I could have done a little bit better this week was just in terms of the location. I did do some brief location scouting before the shoot, but then as I was doing the shoot I found that some parts weren't sort of suiting as much, and I thought we spent quite a bit of time walking around trying to find spots that suited the mood board and the photo shoot overall. However, I feel like it wasn't a really big problem. I think we found the good spots in the end, and this week I feel like there's not a huge amount that I was like, oh, I really need to improve on that for next week. I just felt like it was a really smooth flowing photo shoot, but if there's anything I could put it down to, I think it'd be the location and the amount of time we spent actually doing that. I also took a lot of photos this week, and probably too many, because I found myself having to go through them later on, and it was just like, ugh. There was like over 1,000 shots, and usually I'm pretty careful with my shots. I like to keep it down to a reasonable amount so I don't have that issue when I'm going through them later on. But this time I think I just took too many, and I know that too many is better sometimes than not enough, but in this case, yeah, I think it was just a little bit too much. I think the thing that I did well was that I really directed Ruby well, and the thing was, Ruby was great at posing and doing different expressions by herself. And I noticed this straight away from the minute we started shooting. I knew that she was going to be really great with posing and doing different expressions. But the thing that I kept telling myself was, even though she's amazing at this, keep directing her, because the thing is, you can let models go and do different poses and do their own thing, and usually that does work a lot of the time, but I think it's still important to chat to the model and make sure that you're getting what you want out of the photo shoot too, and that you're getting them to change it up every now and then. So I think I did pretty well with staying consistent with that and getting her to change up her poses and her expressions from time to time. So now it's time for me to mention the featured photographer of this week. And the featured photographer is actually a newcomer to the 52-week project group, and his name is Reuben Looi. And I hope I'm really pronouncing his last name correctly. Sorry, Reuben, if I've got that wrong. But his work is so great, and he seems to be specialising a little bit in studio photography, which I love. I'm starting to get into it a little bit myself, so I like seeing other people's progress and journey through studio photography as well. And I really noticed that he's really got the tones like down pat in his images. I think he's going to do so well over the next year, and I just think you guys should definitely go and check out his work. So I put his social media links down in the description box below and in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do. And please let me know, as I said at the beginning of the video, what you want to see in these future videos, just to make them interesting and to change them up a little bit, because I know it's kind of getting a bit stagnant. It's about halfway through the year now, and we're sort of tending to do the same thing with every video. So I'd like some ideas of how to make it a little bit more creative and put in some things that you guys want to see more often, so feel free to leave some comments down below. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!